Welcome everyone to our regular session for the Town of Black Mountain Board of Aldermen for October. This time I'd like for us to stand and do a pledge of allegiance to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This time Reverend Alexander McLean, First Presbyterian Church, Swan Knoll, will lead us in our invocation.
Please join me in prayer. Almighty God, you have given us this good land as our heritage. Make us always remember your generosity and constantly do your will. Bless our land with honest industry, sound learning, and an honorable way of life. Save us from violence, discord, and confusion, from pride and arrogance, and from every evil way. Make us who come from many nations with many different languages a united people. Defend our liberties and give those whom we have entrusted with the authority of government the spirit of wisdom, that there might be justice and peace in the land. Bless those who hold office in the government of the town of Black Mountain, that they may do their work in a spirit of wisdom, kindness, and justice. Help them use their authority to serve faithfully and to promote the general welfare. We pray this all in your holy name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Robert. As said in our agenda tonight, there have been some changes. The number 5 has been deleted. Number 6 has also been deleted. Number 7 is a mystery. It just disappeared. Other than that, we'll be adhering to the agenda. This time, I don't have a sheet on citizen comments. There wasn't anybody inside. Okay, we'll have Greenways Commission, and I believe Julie White is here.
Do you want to click him or do you want me to click?
You can click it. Or I can, yeah, that'll probably work. Okay, so I'm here to give our annual Greenway report. And it's been an exciting year because we opened 2 Greenways, so I'm going to start off with showing you those. So the Flat Creek Greenway is the first Greenway that was finished this year, and these are just some pictures of the actual construction of the Greenway and the putting in the bridge. And then we had our opening day, and we had a ribbon cutting, and Alderman Showers came and helped do that ribbon cutting. And that same day, we had students from Black Mountain Elementary participate in Earth Day activities, educational activities, and these were designed by Sharon Stone, who was a student of Dottie Schumann's, one of our Greenway commissioners at Monterey. And then we also, on the Flat Creek Greenway, because of the work on the Flat Creek Greenway and the stream bank restoration, we won an award from the Land of Sky Regional Council, which I think Marcy is going to present in a little bit. So that was very exciting because we got a lot of accolades for the combination of the stream bank restoration and the Greenway work. Also, we just recently had an invasive workshop on that Greenway. So Bob Gale of the Western North Carolina Alliance came, and he helped us to identify the invasive plants along that Greenway and help give us some ideas of how we can get those eradicated. So we're not only looking at just getting the Greenway on the ground, but how we're going to maintain it and keep it beautiful in years to come. And we did that in conjunction with the Beautification Committee. So then our second Greenway is the Community Garden Greenway. And there's a picture of Casey and Marilyn helping with the layout. And then the bottom picture is the opening day when we had a National Trails Day hike that started there. We've already had and then this is the finishing up. We're about done. We've put in the bollards and signs. You can't really see them, but there's flagging in there, which is where we're going to have native plants planted, and that was a part of the contract for the Greenway. This Greenway was done with National Trails funds, or the Recreational Trails grant from the state. Then we had a day of caring on this Greenway, so we had volunteers from Givens Estate come and help, and what they did was they pulled up a lot of weeds that our landscaper had identified. So now where they have pulled up all that pigweed, you should go down there and see the cosmos. It's just beautiful. And our commissioner member, Ann Lutz, was helping that day. And then we had a lunch and learn where Carolyn organized this and I went with her and we walked the Greenway and just learned about Greenways and had lunch, so it's being used as part of your town's wellness program. Then for our big outreach, for our big kind of grand opening of both Greenways, National Trails Day was like a day or two after they finished paving the Greenway. So we partnered with the Onieal Valley Museum and we had a hike from the Garden Greenway through town, around through the dog park, and then ended up on the Flat Creek Greenway. So people were able to really see how our greenways connect and how our future branches can connect in the future. And it was really exciting because, of course, the people from the Onieal Valley Museum knew everything about where we were, and so I think at this one picture we were down there in the Oaks, and Bill Alexander could just give us the whole history of what happened there, which was really fun. Another big outreach event we have is the Greenway Challenge, and a former Commissioner, John McNair, organizes this. It's a 5K and 10K run that leaves from Pisgah Brewery. And we raise money. We raise about $3,500 for this run, but the real reason we have it is to do outreach and to get all the people that come to look at our display and to learn about the Greenways. There's a picture of Jack Williams and our great Greenway display that he's made. And then there's me covered up because it was a cold, windy day. Then we also have a new brochure which Jack designed, and I've got some extra ones. If y'all would, I can give you one a little later. But the idea here was to show what's on the ground, what future corridors we have, and then to show some ways that you can connect into town from the Greenways there via sidewalks or less used streets. And the whole idea behind this was we wanted a brochure that could be helpful, that people could put in their stores. We've got them in the bike shop and the hiking store right now, so people coming into town could pick this up and get on our Greenways and use them. And there's also an indication of where the bike trail from our depot to the old depot in Old Fort is. So it's kind of also a tourist device too. We worked in a booth at Mill Around the Village. We did this in conjunction with Buncombe County Greenways, and as you can see, our new brochure was being put to use. And then we also had a display at Fall by the Tracks. So that's Jack setting it up, and that was Dottie Schumann sharing the brochure. So we've also done some presentations. Dottie and I went and talked to the Montreat College Cabinet. We're just trying to kind of reopen connections with that group, and we got some favorable. I think we were making inroads. We need to reconnect with the college because we would like to go through their land, maybe, if they let us. I gave a presentation to the Planning Commission. I've got a presentation scheduled for Wednesday with a women's club. And then the Buncombe County Greenway Commission had their last meeting out here, so we had lunch at Lake Tomahawk, and then we walked the new Greenways. And I got to tell you, people are impressed with what we've done here. So it's very nice. We also have a number of regional partners, Buncombe County Greenways, I'm on that commission. Julia Weatherford sits on the McDowell's Trail Association. And then we also get a lot of volunteers from Warren Wilson, Montreat Colleges, and Ridgecrest. So we have a lot of help from the community. There were a couple of regional studies that were completed. The Swannanoa River Greenway Feasibility Study was completed this year. And then the Buncombe County Greenways is going through a master plan update. And that's a picture of Alderman Sobol, who addressed the opening kind of gala that we had for that. We still have a lot of local collaborations. I mentioned the Beautification Committee. We did the invasive workshop with them. The Swannanoa Valley Museum helped us with the hike. We're working with the health initiative. They kind of have the idea of touting and marketing Black Mountain as a healthy community, and we are really interested in helping them with that. Of course, we work with Parks and Recreation. Safe Routes to School, we're hoping to have, we're hoping to do that Wednesday if the weather cooperates. And we serve on that committee. And then we also have representation on the Town Square Committee. Either myself or Jack Williams, who just came in, have been at most of those meetings. So this is just Walk to School Day. I was wanting to have pictures of what happened last week, but it didn't. So hopefully Wednesday it will happen. But that was pictures from 2001. And this year we'll get to use the Greenway. Last year we just walked in the church. This year we're also going to pick up some folks on the Greenway because we have a parent who walks her child to school every day. We went to several trainings, the Carolina Thread Trail Forum and the Buncombe County Stakeholders Meetings. And there you see Carolyn at one session and Marcy at another. So we've had good participation, not only from our commissioners, but from town board and staff. So this is kind of what we have in mind for 2012. We applied for a recreational trails grant to do the Greenway along, this is from Lake Tomahawk over to Highway 70. I know that park has a name, Craigmont. And we did not get it, but we have the plan. We know where we want to go, so those, I don't know if those funds will be available again this year. Well, if they are, we'll apply or we'll look for other funding, but we've kind of got the groundwork done for that one. Also, when we looked at the Swananoa Valley, or that whole Greenway plan, the feasibility study, we found some things that we really need to start working on. And one of them is there's a possibility of running the Greenway under the Richard Petty Bridge, but that would require DOT moving a fence. And that will take, for a long time, many, many years. So we have to start the process. So, and there's several things like that where we just have to start the slow, long process of getting these things done. And then we want to continue landowner outreach along Flat Creek, because of course our long-term goal is to continue the Flat Creek Greenway all the way up to the Montreat Gate, and there's a lot of landowners that we just need to start the outreach for that. We're going to continue to maintain and improve our current greenways. We want to develop map. We've got the map. We want to get maps out on the trails. We're going to look at amenities, plantings, invasives, just looking at keeping our greenways up. And then we're going to continue our outreach activities. We'll continue the Greenway Challenge. We'll continue speaking to groups and having displays. We're thinking about we are going to be in the Christmas parade this year. And then we have some other fundraising activities which will be unveiled over the year. And we'll continue our collaborations with the regional Greenway groups, local colleges, and the Black Mountain groups. And then just the last thing, part of what we're going to do is support the Buncombe County Greenway Master Plan process. And there's a meeting a week from today at the library. And that's it. I don't think next year will be quite as exciting, but good things will continue to happen.
Thank you. Very impressive.
Julia, Mayor, if I might, I'd like to read the award that was presented to the Greenways Commission at the Land of Sky Regional Council Annual Awards on August 30th. Since 2005, the Black Mountain Greenways Commission has been working to develop greenway trails in the town of Black Mountain and Buncombe County, which preserve local streams and rivers, create recreational opportunities, and educate the public about local waterways. Originally chartered as the Greenways Walkability and Biking Task Force, the group was made an official commission to the town of Black Mountain in 2006. Beginning in 2006, the commission spearheaded a comprehensive master planning process for greenway trails in Black Mountain, funded by the Pigeon River Fund. In addition to creating an overall master plan, this project focused specifically on stream restoration and trail construction along a section of Flat Creek behind the primary school. This half-mile trail, now called the Flat Creek Greenway, was completed in April of this year. The completion was marked by the Earth Day opening celebration, during which 275 4th and 5th grade students from the neighboring elementary school walked on the trail and visited educational stations run by the Greenways commissioners. The commissioners have taught students about how water moves across the local landscape, about native plants along the trail, about stream restoration, and their impact on the creek. This trail now serves as an educational resource, a recreational space, and a transportation corridor for walkers and bikers. And the trail features 3 interpretive signs about stream restoration and the importance of preserving rivers as a natural resource. The Black Mountain Greenways Commission is comprised of dedicated citizen volunteers who are passionate about their work and effectively leverage resources within their community to get the job done. And I was very proud to be in attendance with our Greenways Commission for this award ceremony. There were only 6 winners recognized that night. And our group was presented with a plaque that we'd like to show tonight, and then also recognize all of the members. Julie, if you could come forward with your board members, because we have a presentation for each of them. We have Julie White, Chair, Dottie Schumann, Vice Chair, Susan Ward, Ann Lutz, Julia Weatherford, John Murphy, Jack Williams, John McNair, and I'd like to recognize Carolyn Freiberger and Jennifer Tipton. Carolyn is the staff to this committee, and Jennifer also assisted with preparing the application. So we're grateful to all of you for the recognition that the town has received on behalf of the River. And after pictures, we have books. Thank you. We're good. And we have a book for each of you. The Land of Sky Council awarded one to Julie already as chair, but we wanted to make sure that each of you had a copy. Thank you all.
Marilyn, I believe you're next. Rainbow Recycling.
Well, it's good to be able to come up here and follow in the excitement of what's happening with our greenways. And I've got some good news to share, too. Rainbow Recycling, along with Asheville Greenworks and Curbside Management, are sponsoring special collections that will rotate quarterly for hard-to-recycle items. We're starting this initiative here in eastern Buncombe County, and so we will have the Friends and Neighbors of Swannanoa as a co-sponsoring group who will help us publicize, who are already helping us publicize, and will pitch in on that day. We are collaborating with some businesses and organizations so we can have a broad range of items that we are going to collect. So when and where? It will be let's start with it'll be on Saturday, October 22nd, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. We have the good fortune that Ingalls is allowing us to use their lot at the Swannanoa store site between Ingalls Gas and the Bank of America. Succeeding collections will be in South Buncombe and West Buncombe, and we'll keep rotating if all goes well. Those dates and times and locations will be arranged. So what are we collecting? Well, this time around, we're collecting a whole slew of items. So, drum roll, please. Okay, we're collecting styrofoam and other packaging materials to be cleaned, sorted, and bagged. The styrofoam gets recycled, and the packaging materials will be reused by local artists and galleries and any other shops. We're collecting unusable clothing and fabric, clean, no quilted items. These will be donated to ABCCM. They have a special recycling collection. They bale it up, ship it out, and it gets shredded up and recycled, and it benefits them. We're collecting bulky hard plastics. Curbside Management is doing this. They're our local recycler. That category includes things like lawn furniture, toys, buckets, flower pots, bins. And we're collecting electronics. Computers for Christ there in Swannanoa will be helping with that. There will be a $5 disposal fee on TVs and CRT monitors, but everything else you can recycle free. And that's the broad range of electronics. And rechargeable batteries, computer disks, audio and videotapes, and even small appliances. One thing we won't be taking that day is no medical equipment. And we're collaborating with other groups who can reuse items. So comforters, blankets, towels that are washable, and small stuffed animals, the kind without pellets, will be collected and used by Full Moon Farm Wolf Dog Rescue. Printer cartridges and fax cartridges will be accepted, and they will go to Owen High School for their fundraising. Eyeglasses and hearing aids will go to McCune Memorial Center, the Lions Club project, and we're also collecting used gift cards, which we'll either reuse for our activities or donate. So that's quite a list of things. I do have copies, and I've posted them around. These are also available at the library and at the chamber. But I have one important point to make, and that is in order to have these special collections, it is absolutely necessary to have everyone respect the setup. No early or late drop-offs. No trash or other kinds of items like regular recyclables. We're not taking those. Only the items indicated. For this event, we surely want Ingalls to welcome us back when it cycles back to East Buncombe next time. So it's really important that we leave that place clean and as if nothing had happened there. So we need your cooperation for that. And the same, of course, will be true in our other locations. So that's something I consider very exciting. That's quite a list of things. So look at your home, your storage, your business. What do you have of those things listed that you don't need and can help the environment and feel good about that, and also help other groups. Thank you.
Thank you, Merle. The Farmer's Film, Senator Kennedy.
Thank you for letting me come. This is a great meeting to be at. There's so much innovation, and I'm really happy to be here. What we're doing is we have had 4 farmers from Buncombe, 1 from McDowell and 3 from Buncombe County, filming their own lives. They started in July. They're going to film through November, and they're doing a great job. It's going to go on usatoday.com in November. For the month of November, they're doing 4 pieces, and we're going to talk to UNCTV about it too. So since these farmers are largely in our area, I thought you all might like to know, and I'm presenting actually to anybody who will listen. And this is Nick Nichols. Some of you guys might recognize him from the market. He does lamb. And I'm just going to show you this little clip so you can kind of get an idea.
Start small, because you're going to make mistakes and it's going to cost you money, and you're going to have to backtrack or change direction. I'm Nick Nichols of Highlander Farm. My wife Susan and I have been involved in raising sheep for 37 years. It's harder to think about the future because you know that time is against you now.
Nick's been running all over this farm this morning trying to catch these sheep.
We've just hired somebody to help us, which is brand new for us, and hopefully that's going to take a little load off our back.
You grab their leg, Robbie.
Yeah, there you go, Robbie.
There you go.
You're going to win seriously.
Why don't y'all start working with holding them upright instead of carrying them like that, Nick?
Carry them all right like that? About 100 pounds?
It's gotten so hard for Nick to do the heavy work, and it's awful hard for him to accept it.
When I was a little kid, I raised rabbits for meat, and every Saturday I'd butcher rabbits, and my dad would take them to a butcher shop to sell. We've always had livestock. I like reading about it. I go to as much educational opportunities as I can. I deal with different breeders and trying to get different genetics into my flock to improve the lambs each year.
This lamb was born this morning. Latest addition to Highlander Farm.
You see a new lamb laying there in the straw. That's the most exciting thing there is.
Okay, so here's what we see as the problem that we address. This is the number of small farms in North Carolina from 1948 to 2007. By my calculation, that's an 84% decrease. But this is the local food movement. These are farmers markets in the United States nationwide from 94 to 2007. That's a huge increase. So, how should we react to the local food movement? A lot of people, including some farmers, are sort of over there at wait and see, because it's very trendy. It's hard to know how to read a trend. John and I think that we should use it, and that this is a good time to kind of tap into that energy. And so we proposed a documentary series to give small farmers a big voice. We're doing this now, and this is why we think it's a good time. Why is the series a good idea? Because media exposure ups local food purchases. ASAP has a study that they did where they called like 200 people randomly, and 47% of them said that advertising made them want to buy more local food. So what we're doing here is in my opinion, better than advertising. It's journalism. Also, I think this maybe goes without saying, but having more sales helps these farmers to survive and helps their farms to survive as farms, which in turn allows us to have access to fresher food, support for an important craft, and more beautiful farms in our landscape. So this is our model. This is the way we work. The community is doing the storytelling. That's the farmers. We're collecting their stories raw. We cut it. We put it up on the interactive media. That's Facebook, YouTube, and on big media outlets. In this case, USA Today. And the reason that we do it both ways is because the big media outlets are useful for reaching people who don't think about this kind of thing very often. And the destination, the Facebook, the YouTube, those are for people who are really involved and talking about it a lot, and they like to be hanging out there anyway. So it's our intention for our sponsors and our farmers to benefit from both kinds of exposure. And this is talking about self-filming, which is what we use when we give the cameras to people. It tends to work because people believe it. It's really real. And because the visuals are amazing. I mean, you saw Nick picking up that sheep. I mean, that was just, he just did that. We didn't tell him to do it. That was cool. And so we think that this makes video that broadcasters want to broadcast, and in turn, a lot of people see it. So this is the company that I work for. It's called Purple States. That's me and John and one other person. And we have done some stuff for the New York Times and the Gates Foundation. I don't know why it's written like that. That's kind of crazy. That was most recent about manufacturing jobs in the Piedmont of North Carolina. We did one for the United Nations where we sent cameras to 13 countries around the globe talking about the Millennium Development Goals. And then our latest is working with farmers. The farmers one is the first one that we've done over time. It's the first time we've asked people to film from week to week, and it's working really well. They're just getting better and better at it. So here's where we are in the season. These are our 4 farms, and I think that you guys will probably recognize these people. On the top is Megan Cole. She's at Harvest Table Farms in Old Fort, and she's at the market every week. And then we have Nick Nichols, who you just saw. He does lamb with his wife Susan, and they are in Fairview. And then below that's Andy Perkins from Looking Glass Creamery, also in Fairview. He works with his wife Jennifer. And then at the bottom that's Jeanette Wilson, and she and her husband Frank have a beef, cattle, and vegetable operation in Hominy Valley. That's in Candler. So out of 20 weeks of production, they're going to, as I said, they're going to end in November. We're in week 14. We have 13 webisodes, and I mention this because I really think you guys should go onto our website. It's farmersfilm.com and watch these things. I don't know how many people really are, but it's our intention that people should interact with this stuff while it's happening. And John and I are working really hard to pick up the film and cut it and broadcast it really close to real time so that if they have tomatoes, you're seeing them have tomatoes. Nobody cares about that but me. But I feel like it's really important because seasonality is such a big part of this story. We have 8 major sponsors, and they are mostly local people, and we are so grateful. The major platform is USA Today, and even prior to broadcasting on a major platform, we have over 60,000 people engaged with this material. We're working on this project with the Organic Grower School of Western North Carolina, and we're talking about maybe expanding it in 2012 because it's really worked well. So, and here's our financial plan. Right now we're in phase 1. We have a lot of individual sponsors and small businesses, primarily, talking to a couple of big businesses. In Phase 2, I'm really going to be looking at business sponsors and grant makers. These are the media outlets where I have connections, with the exception of WLOS. I can't really get them to talk to me, so if anybody knows anybody over there, I would appreciate it. Because I think they would love this material if I could get them to look at it. And here's me. I'm the producer. That means I'm the money. I'm securing funding for the project is my job, and platforms, basically. There's John. You guys all know John. He was at these meetings for a long time, and now he's the director of this piece. And here's Meredith. I don't know if you guys know Meredith McKissick, but she is one of the co-producers on the project. She's actually a farmer, and she's the one who's telling us what's going on in terms of farming, because John and I have no idea. So to recap, our purpose is to support small farms and help them be more sustainable. And our methods are to give small farmers big voice through the media. And this is my last slide. The reason I wanted to come talk to you all is mainly because I want people to know that we're doing this. It's important. And also, if we're going to expand, what would be useful? I mean, if I can make this work, which I think I can, what would be a cool way to use this technology? Also, I'm always looking for funds. If you know anybody who might like to support this kind of thing, tell me. I want to meet them. And then, as I said, we have all the videos on farmersfilm.com. It's a really great way to get to know farmers who are right here local. Likewise with the Facebook page. And if you know any farmers who I should talk to who might like to do this in the future, I'm always happy to know that too. So that's it. Do I take questions, or are we just... If there are any, I'm happy to answer questions. No.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Item is the consent agenda.
Sir, we have 5 items on the consent agenda this evening. Item A is your adoption of minutes from the meetings of September 12th and September 23rd. You have a budget amendment to adopt a budget amendment recognizing insurance reimbursement of $1,800 for police vehicle repairs. We have a call for a public hearing on a zoning text amendment to the land use code and general regulations as recommended by the planning board. We won't spend a lot of time talking about making a presentation tonight, but just to make the public aware, this public hearing will address items on non-conforming use of structures, buildings, or land, and it will include revisions to definitions of abandoned vehicle, junked vehicle, nuisance vehicle, and designate authorizing enforcement officials. This public hearing is scheduled for your next regular meeting, November 14th at 6 p.m. or as soon thereafter as possible. We also have a call for a public hearing regarding submittal of a grant application to the North Carolina Department of Commerce for funding under the Community Development Block Grant Program. This will also be a public hearing held on Monday, November 14th at 6 p.m. The purpose of this public hearing is to solicit the community's input with regard to needs of low and moderate income individuals. The CDBG program provides funding through 8 different grant programs. Some are related to housing, some are economic development, and some are capital projects and so forth, all with the intent of improving the condition for low and moderate income individuals in the community. All CDBG funding requires at least 2 public hearings. This is a general public hearing, which will be followed later by a specific public hearing when we actually apply for funds.
This one is more for job development.
That's correct. What we anticipate our first application under this would be for job development. And finally, item E is a resolution endorsing the reinstatement of Project I-4409 to the North Carolina 2012 to 2018 State Transportation Improvement Plan. This is the addition of the I-40 interchange at Blue Ridge Road. The request is that the board adopt this resolution to immediately reinstate that project. There is a resolution attached which provides the reasons for supporting that reinstatement.
I would like very much to address E on the resolution about the I-40 interchange at Blue Ridge Road. The reason that I support this is the fact that there's a good chance that we could get a manufacturer in there, a beverage company, that could provide anywhere from 100 to 150 good-paying jobs, not just minimum wage jobs. Also, too, they have a little bit of a tourism factor in the fact that they would have a restaurant. They would also go ahead and have a tour of their facilities, so there's a little bit of tourism involved there. But they need access straight to the interstate because they would be building over where the Phillips Farm used to be. And we need this. We need the jobs. And so I am for this because this does not affect Blue Ridge Road as far as widening Blue Ridge Road or anything out Blue Ridge Road. However, though, if this does not go through, this is not for just as far as I'm concerned. I'm voting for this particular entity who's wanting to locate here. If this does not go through, then I'm going to be working to remove this from the priority as a priority project. So I'd like to have that recorded in the minutes, please.
Is there a motion to approve consent items A through E as presented?
Mayor, can I comment for just a moment?
Yes. Can we have a motion first?
Okay. I'll make a motion.
Okay. Comments, yeah, sure.
Okay. Just want to emphasize to the folks on Blue Ridge Road, this does not include any 4 or 5 lane highway going out through there, as was the rumors in the previous ordeal that we went through with that. This does not include anything like that. They have talked about the fact that they want a bicycle path. I believe, is that right, Marcy?
Yes, they would extend the shoulders to match the shoulders that are already existing from Highway 9 to South Blue Ridge Road. So it would extend that wider shoulder all the way back out.
We just want everybody to understand the facts here, not the rumor mill.
One thing also, this interchange is desperately needed there with Ingalls Warehouse going to be putting out more trucks on the road, and these 18-wheelers coming through town, they're killing the main road through town. Traffic is bumper to bumper some days, particularly on Mondays and Tuesdays when they're leaving out of the present facility, and once the big warehouse is completed, it'll even be worse. So Blue Ridge Interchange is desperately needed at this time.
Any other discussion?
I had a comment. I think at the closed session meeting, we discussed several of the aldermen were going to go and approach several of the citizens in that area and discuss it with them. Do we know if that happened or not?
I know that Mike and I and Carl, I know the 3 of us have done some things, and I would assume some of the other board members have.
I would hope all the board did.
Yes, I did.
I did. Any other comments? If not, all in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next item is communications from staff. Town attorney.
I have nothing here.
How about one question that
Yes.
I get asked every month, and
Yeah.
I know you have an answer. Tennis courts.
Tennis courts, we attempted to serve SMS by certified mail. The green card hasn't come back on that. I'm losing faith in postal service, which sent the sheriff out this week.
Okay.
Another question, if I can, Marcy, on those tennis courts, follow up on the mayor. At a couple of meetings ago, the Recreation Commission director had said that they endorsed putting in the French drain around there, and that they were working with the public service to get this done. And I was just wondering, since this has been going on for almost now 2 years and nothing's done, so can you give some kind of a concrete time frame that I could tell the tennis folks
Yes,
when it will not be done?
Yeah, Mark will address this.
Yes, I apologize for that being a little far behind. I've been working on an ADA issue, some paving going on there, where some drainage might need to be redone, and I'm a little reluctant with the elevations there if we're going to redo that. So that I take full responsibility for that not happening sooner rather than now.
So we still don't have any idea.
Well, I can get it done in a matter of weeks.
Well, I mean, will you get it done?
Yes,
So we would say then by the next board meeting, being 4 weeks, that the French drains would be in around the tennis courts.
That's the wish of the board. I'll be glad to have it done by then.
Well, skipping a little bit, is that going to be, I mean, that, you said the wish of the board, I mean, that.
Well, I think the board asked it.
Then it will be done by the next board meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Town manager.
Yes, sir. We do have our staff quarterly reports this evening. I wanted to preface those comments with just a few observations about the past year. I will provide you all a more formal manager's report at the end of the year. But as we near the end of the term for this particular election cycle, I think it's important for you all to take a little break from electioneering long enough to recognize the town's accomplishments and perhaps give yourselves a well-deserved pat on the back for the many accomplishments and the progress the town has made over the last 2 years despite some significant challenges under your leadership. In the midst of any election season, it's not at all unusual for candidates and certainly for members of the public to grab hold of single sort of noteworthy issues or some small bit of information and then really drive that home. That's politics as we know it in America, and there's certainly nothing wrong with that. In fact, it's a good strategy for effectively furthering a particular agenda or distinguishing one candidate from another. But if the public were to base its entire understanding of the town's budget or the priorities and challenges that the town has faced and the achievements that have been evidenced over the past couple of years solely on the latest wave of sort of election season rhetoric, I'm afraid that the citizens of Black Mountain might think that that vacant lot out there is the only piece of property we own, or that golf is the only service we provide, or that we've spent so much out of our fund balance that we have nothing left for a rainy day. Certainly, you all know that that's not the case, and I know that the public and our candidates certainly want to be provided with factual information. These are all important community issues, and the open and lively discussion about the town square property in recent weeks is an example of democracy that's at its very best. But with so much attention devoted to a very few number of topics, it's important that we not allow this sort of public discourse to overshadow and diminish the very real accomplishments that you all have made over the past 2 years. So it's in the spirit of uncovering from the shadows and celebrating your accomplishments that I provide just a brief preface to our staff reports. First, I would like to commend all of you, all 6 of you, for your leadership in the past 2 years. Despite whatever philosophical and political differences you may have had with each other individually, your tenure as a board has been marked by great progress in many areas, in what will surely be remembered as one of the most active, engaged, and productive periods for the town in decades. And I'd like to remind you of some of the things that you have been responsible for over the last 2 years. Despite the challenges of a failing national and local economy, you had the courage to make good on promises to the town that the town made to its citizens over 2 decades ago by fulfilling long-standing legal, contractual, and moral obligations associated with the extension of infrastructure into annexed areas. You have comprehensively addressed federal law dating back to 1991 to improve your facilities, operations, and programs under the Americans with Disabilities Act. You have acted as responsible stewards of existing town assets by committing funding for the first time in decades to renovate, repair, improve, and maintain town facilities that have been long neglected, non-code compliant, and in disrepair. You have wisely anticipated the growth and the vision of this community for quality of life, facilities, and amenities by building or rebuilding critical facilities such as the pool, the Lakeview Center, the Golf Center, Town Hall, and Greenway trails. Just since 2008, you have undertaken 19 capital projects as compared to only 3 in the previous decade. Of these 19 projects, 13 were partially or entirely grant-funded. They ranged in scope from $50,000 projects to $2 million projects. But in total, they added more than $7.5 million in assets, in value, to the long-term assets of the town. Much has been made recently in discussion, some of the folks who have addressed you from these meetings, made of the town's annual debt payments. The current annual debt service for all capital projects in the general fund is $475,000, and that's out of a $9 million budget. I point that out simply to say that that's a far lower level than most communities in North Carolina have, and well below the town's legal debt capacity. Furthermore, you've been very good stewards of the town's fund balance, or the savings account as some people prefer to call it. It has been used in recent years as it was intended, as a cushion against a failing economy, as a means of taking advantage of opportunities that arise unexpectedly in the year, as a means of funding special needs that arise that you have not dealt with during the budget process. Although the fund balance has declined in total over the last 4 years, in terms of real dollars, it went from $3.09 million at the end of 2009 to $3.01 million in 2011. That's an actual total decline over 3 years of less than $100,000. What is most notable about that fund balance is that the very small decline occurred over the same period of time when the town absorbed nearly $200,000 increased costs in our solid waste contract, at the same time that sales tax revenues declined by about $100,000 a year and other revenues remained flat. It has occurred at a time where you took advantage of one-time opportunities through the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act, the federal stimulus funding, to engage in 4 projects. So the reason I bring this to your attention is to applaud you for wise stewardship of the town's funds. The board and staff did an excellent job over this period of time containing operational costs. And although the recent elimination and freezing of positions has been difficult, I couldn't be prouder of our town staff because today we are working with 70 employees when this time a year ago we were working with 84. I think that you have not seen a reduction in service. In fact, I think in certain areas you've seen tremendous increase and improvement in services to the public. Just to pick one example, our Public Services Department 3 years ago faced a backlog 10 years long of certain work orders and was performing at the level of about 300 work orders per year. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mark, but I believe that your work order completion last year was something along the neighborhood of 1,700 work orders. We have had every single employee in the town of Black Mountain has taken on additional duties. Many of them have undertaken additional training in order to be able to absorb additional workload. We have undergone extensive reorganizations in every department in order to accommodate the loss of certain positions and to continue providing excellent quality of services in the town. We applaud you for your commitment to our employees when many of surrounding employers were laying off employees and cutting out benefits and salaries long before the town of Black Mountain. You all provided for raises for our employees in 2 of the last 3 years. You have committed to an aggressive program of training and professional development by the segregation of an employee development fund a couple of years ago, and you are still providing excellent benefits for our employees. I thank you for what you've done for the community as a group. This has been a very active and busy 3 years. We have a lot to show for the work of this board for 3 years, and you have the support of an incredibly talented and dedicated group of employees working on behalf of the citizens of this community. So with that, I would like to invite our staff forward for their quarterly reports, and I believe we're starting with administration.
But before you do that, Marcy, I would like to say thank you, Marcy. Instead of you thanking us, thank you. for your exceptional leadership qualities, you and your staff. Thank you very much.
I know tandem's 2. What is 3? I guess a trio. But here's Dean's slides are first.
I have some financial results for the first quarter of the year, which I think Marcy will have up there.
A little hard to see.
We budgeted just over $7 million in the general fund, and after the first quarter, we're at $375,000, which doesn't appear good on the surface. You have to remember that almost half of our general fund revenue is property taxes, and the bulk of that money will come in December and January, almost 90% of that amount. Also, we're 3 months behind on sales tax, so we really haven't seen any sales tax for this fiscal year yet. And we're also, franchise utility taxes are also, we get paid a quarter behind on those as well. So really, none of our big dollars have shown up. If you look at our prior year totals, it's a fairly comparable number. The reason the prior year is about $100,000 more is that the state paid Powell bill money in full last year, and this year they've decided to hold on to half of that Powell bill money until January. Our expenses are pretty much in line in the general fund as to where they were in previous years. And that's about all I have at this point. I mean, the first quarter results are not probably the most thrilling ones to give from a finance point of view.
What's the figure on fund balance?
Our fund balance in the general fund right now, let's see, the total fund balance is right over $3 million. GASB came out with a new statement, GASB 54, which is requiring us to reclassify how that number is categorized, so there will not be an unreserved fund balance, which is what a lot of people really think of as the true savings. This is the first year that governments like us, they're giving them new names like committed and assigned and non-spendable fund balance. But our total fund balance is right over $3 million, and I would suspect that the equivalent of unreserved will be about 2.2 or 2.3 million.
So unencumbered is about 2.2.
2.2 or 2.3. I can't say for sure right now. The auditors are scheduled to show up a week from today, and we'll be finalizing all the fiscal year 11 numbers. I can say that a couple months ago I stood up at one of these meetings and said we would have about a $400,000 deficit in the general fund, and I think that number will be closer to $200,000, and that includes with some of the money that we've spent on the golf course and things transferred to the golf course. I think there was a lot of belt tightening in those last couple months, and 2 of our tax payments, which we just received, which were applicable to fiscal year 11, were the best tax payments we had received in 5 years for sales tax and utility taxes. So they were about $100,000 more than I had estimated. So that pretty much explains why instead of a $400,000 deficit, it'll be closer to a $200,000 in the general fund.
So it looked like the Powell bill was off about 10, I guess.
Yeah, we'll be the population, because the state decided we lose 700 people. I think that was about close to $18 a person, more or less, is how that worked out. So I think it's $10,000 or $12,000. And we'll see the other half of that payment in January. So,
yeah, I believe the unencumbered is 2.2 million. So last time I was doing the figures,
it was 2.2. Okay.
Genella Gray, the HR coordinator. This quarter, we started our first AB Tech satellite classroom, and as you can see, this is our 10 students. The HR division worked out the logistics of the first satellite classroom located here in the boardroom, which turns into a great classroom each Tuesday. We have 10 Town of Black Mountain employees taking the first of their prerequisite courses to earn their degree. The first course is 1 night per week, starting at 5 and ending at 8:50, continuing for 16 weeks. The first class is CSI 110, Introduction to Computers. We also had the Day of Caring. The HR division coordinated our first Day of Caring. We were one of 63 local businesses that joined the Day of Caring effort this year. We had 14 employees volunteer to go out and work for local nonprofits, schools, and public entities. The Town of Black Mountain was paired with the Art Space Charter School. We built compost bins, painted their garden shed, built shelves in the garden shed, plowed the winter garden, weeded, and worked in their library. And here is all of our hardworking crew. The E-Verify system. As of October the 1st, new legislation requires counties and municipalities to register and participate in the federal E-Verify program to verify the work authorization of new hires. This quarter, the HR division registered the town on E-Verify and took the testing as administrator of the program for the town, making us compliant for the October 1 deadline. Also this year, the state health insurance had a second quarter enrollment. We had to re-enroll all our employees in the state health insurance plan of their choice. This second enrollment was due to the rate increase that took place effective September 1. Thank you.
Aren't you impressed with our presentations? I think everyone has done a great job. You've already seen these pictures once, but I wanted you to make sure you saw me in two or three of those pictures, because I enjoyed the lunch and learn with under Carolyn's direction, where we walked on the new part of around the gardens, the Greenways. It's beautiful. I invite you all to indulge. This quarter, one of my main projects was to make sure that the municipal code draft for codifying the land use code was complete. They did send us the draft after they worked on it for about 6 weeks, and Jennifer Tipton helped go through the draft and verified the changes that were made, that they were accurate. So the next step is for me to send back and say, go forth and publish. And it will eventually be on the website as well. Also participated in the United Way Day of Caring on September 1st. Enjoyed that with the other 13 employees from our staff. And then recently on September 21st, Jennifer Tipton, Pam Hohen, and myself, we participated in the refresher course on the Code Red webinar. Say that fast 3 times. And recently, we used Code Red to announce the special called meeting. We heard a lot of pros, a lot of compliments that people came to the meeting only because they heard about it through these calls. Our purpose for having Code Red is to inform and to make sure everyone is safe, as far as if there's road closures, water leakage, detours, major accidents, missing children. It's also used for flood areas. We can use the map radius when it just involves a certain section of town, and we can pinpoint it by address, or we can, what we did with the 23rd of September is we did an all call, which everyone that's in the database received a call. So far we have 4,239 in our database. It started out, Code Red had a random way of creating a database, and then we have been promoting for the citizens to link on through the web or call here or fill out the form themselves so that they can be notified. You can receive a call on your landline, your cell phone, you can be text, you can receive an email. So, and if you don't want any of that, you can also call me. I'm the administrator of the database, and I can be a do not call or do not notify. So you yourself cannot delete yourself out of the system, but I can mark it so that you won't be called anymore. And then this past month, I helped support Genella, took a well-deserved vacation, and I was able to help her with the payroll while she was gone. So that was new for me. And I continue to support the ADA Compliance Committee and the Town Square Steering Committees. Thank you very much. Any questions?
Yeah, just one thing on that code red.
Yes, sir.
When you said 4239 we have on that, it's a combination of all those, the text and the phone numbers and stuff. Approximately emails. Would emails comprise half of that 4,200?
Less than half, probably a fourth, provided their emails. That is an option on the form if you go online, and you can do it that way. But very few did their emails.
Okay. Now, the reason I was just asking that question is that as we look down the road to get more efficiencies is in the government here as far as billing and as far as paying goes, the more we have of emails, the much more efficient we can be here. So we've got some work to do on that. Okay,
yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mayor and Board. I'd invite everybody to go to the Fire Department's website. There's some good information there, burning regulations, how to prepare your house for urban interface fires. So please go to our website and take advantage of all that information. I want to introduce you to two future firefighters that came to us this quarter, starting off with little Keaton Williams, born to Chad and Brittany Williams in July. They're both home and doing well. And then little Lucas Williams was born to Brad and Micah Williams. And they're both home and doing well. The thing about these two little boys is since, I believe, 1971, there's been a Williams in the fire department. It started out with George Williams and Frank Williams, and then that would be their great uncles, I guess. And then their Uncle Brian was a volunteer for 12 years until he went full-time at Skyland Fire Department. And, of course, I think Tim or Gary One hired Brad and Chad back right out of high school. So we look forward to these boys carrying on the Williams tradition and being firefighters. So we wish them the best. We had 346 calls in the city last quarter and 158 in the district. This equates out to about a 70-30 split, and this is historically what we do. 65 to 70% of our calls are in the city, and the rest of them are out in the district. We are up about 19% from this time last year. This is mainly because the county came to us a little over a year and a half ago and asked us to start responding on all true emergencies when the ambulance was in quarters, which we used to didn't do that before. We've started doing that, and that in turn has cut down on scene times. And as you know, all the new medical technology coming out, the quicker we can get people to the hospital, the better chances they are of saving their lives. So that's why we implemented that, and that's why you see such a big jump in the calls. We do average about 16 times a month where we're out on calls, more than one at a time. It's very common for us to go from one call to another without ever coming back to the station. And we're getting to where we're getting 2 and 3 at one time. And that's kind of hard when you only got a staff of 5 and it's during the middle of the day and all your volunteers are at work. But we're doing very good. We spent a little over 16,000 hours on calls last quarter. I'm very proud of my firefighters. We had $164,400 of property exposed to fire with only a $200 loss. We try to keep this under a 10% goal, and this tells us when we are allowed to do this that we do a very good job of fighting fire aggressively and keeping the fire to the room or object of origin once we arrive on the scene. Of course, we can't do anything about the fire until we get there, so that's how we gauge how well we do in that area. As you know, Ingalls Warehouse is in full swing on their new addition. So we've done 229 business inspections. Some of those could be multiple times going down to the Ingalls Warehouse. So I believe between the fire inspector and the building inspector, they're down there weekly. And we want that because that allows us to have a say-so on what's going on. So when the building is built, it's safer for everybody and it's less calls for us and less life-threatening to the people working there. We did 44 public education venues last quarter. We have tours come to the station. We go out and do take trucks to preschools, and we do everything we can to help the children in the valley learn about fire safety. We even go to Montreat College to the dorms and talk to all the college students, and we talk to them about how to be safe and what to do in a fire alarm. And this has proven to be very effective for education and cutting down on the responses. We have to go up there for fire alarms and true emergencies. Also, on October the 16th, from 2 to 4 will be our open house. This is Fire Prevention Week this week, by the way. We invite everybody to come by the fire station, and we'll have the smokehouse there. So if you'd like to learn how to stop, drop, and roll and crawl out of your house if it catches on fire, it's not just for kids, it can be for adults. But we'll be doing fire truck rides. Like I said, it'll start at 2 and it'll go to 4, which we always go to about 5 with the fire truck rides. But we invite everybody to come out and see us on the 16th and just see what we have and learn about the fire department. We had a little over 3,000 hours of training, hours spent on training last quarter. What you're looking at here is an LP gas fire that we've done a while back, and included not only Black Mountain but other departments in the county, and we do that quite often. Those of you that seen the trailer sitting out in front of the fire station and the police station on the town square property, that was a live burn trailer that West Buncombe Fire Department turned in a grant for. They tacked on that every other fire department in Buncombe County, and we did it kind of as a regional grant, so that gave us a more chance of getting the grant. Obviously, we got it. This is a tool that we can use. We had it for a little over a month. The training that we can do with this can go anywhere from confined space to firefighter down. It's just amazing what a tool this is, and having that sitting right there in front of our fire station for a little over a month allowed us to train every on-duty paid firefighter and all the volunteers. So this is a great tool that we have in the county. Some training achievements in the last quarter. Rick Patton, a volunteer, got his certified level 2 paramedic instructor, and Battalion Chief John Wilson got his level 1 EMT instructor recert. We have to have both these guys to give us training. We have to do we have to get our training for our medical approved through Mission Hospital every year. In order for us to do our training ourselves and not have to have them come out and do it for us, these guys have to take this training to bring it so we can keep it in-house and we're not having to send firefighters and EMTs to Asheville to get it. Retired Fire Chief Gary Bartlett recertified his fire investigator. Gary is a big resource for me on fires. I am statutorily held responsible for all fires in my fire district, so I rely on Gary's knowledge, and I ring his phone quite a bit when I have a fire that I just can't quite figure out. So I'm glad that he's a resource that I have. Then Lieutenant Bobby Davis completed a RIT command officers course. This is a rapid intervention team. This allows us to, if we have a firefighter that goes down in a building, and I hope that never happens, Bobby is qualified to command that crew to go in and rescue them firefighters and civilians. So we're constantly learning and trying to get better at what we do, and Bobby has taken that role on for our department, and he's going to lead us in the right direction. We had 139 hours of volunteers, extra duty hours at the station. They come in, they help sweep and mop and take out the trash, check equipment, work on equipment. That's the things that they get extra duty hours for, not going on calls and stuff. So 139 hours is quite a few hours for volunteers to do extra duty. Just a brief grant update. This is straight out of the letter that we got for our SAFER grant. We were in the running. We stayed in there for a long time with it. We got turned down for the grant, but everybody knows, of course, with the budget restraints we had already talked about not accepting it if we were awarded the grant. This is by far me not saying that I've got plenty of people. I need people, but I do realize the times that we're in right now. So we'll try it again when we bounce back out of this economic crisis. Those of you that see our fire trucks at Lake Tomahawk every year and you ask what we're doing, and you hear little smart aleck comments like we're cycling the water or filling up the lake, or we're trying to make some light of a serious job. This is service testing our trucks. We did this last quarter. We have to do this every year. For one, for our Department of Insurance requires it for our rating, and two, it lets us know how our trucks are, if they're performing okay. It's a great time for them to break because we can get them fixed, and it gets my whole crew out. It's an all paid event. We make a day of it, and it's good team building. And it's a good day. We enjoy getting out together and service testing the trucks. And last but not least, as you can tell, we support Breast Cancer Awareness Month. This month we all wear pink T-shirts, except for this week we wear them all week. Normally we've been wearing them Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And that's so I can get all three shifts to wear pink. It does wonders for our firefighters. We are very secure in our firefighter hood. Pink doesn't bother me. Right now, this month and this week, every firefighter in Buncombe County should be wearing pink while on duty. We started this last year, and it has grown into be a pretty big ordeal. All the Black Mountain Fire Department sent $200 off of what we bought shirts to go towards this. So we'll continue doing it as long as we're allowed. That's all I have. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
I know every year you give us a number out. I'm always amazed at it. The total number of training hours you guys usually have at the end of the year. You give out the banner. What's that number?
It's about 11 or 12,000 on average. I mean, we shoot for a little over 12,000 every year. That's hard to maintain. I mean, that's a lot of hours. That turns out to be about 240 hours per firefighter, and that's a lot of hours to ask a volunteer to maintain. Your paid firemen, on the other hand, they probably average about 400 hours of training a year. So that's pretty, we're always training, always trying to learn.
Great job.
Thank you.
Good evening. For Planning and Development Services, for our first quarterly report, for 2010, we had 114 permits issued and 450 inspections. And then for 2011, this quarter, we issued 100 permits and had 541 inspections. Again, those are up just due to Ingalls. Dan is down there just about every day. There's been a couple of days he doesn't go, but that's very rare. So right now our permits are down about 12.3%, and our inspections are up about 20.2%. We are entering our slowdown period for the fall and winter months, as well as the economic slowdown that we are experiencing yet again. But are looking forward to a busy spring and summer for 2012. Hopefully the indicators are looking good at this time, but it's going to be hard to tell after December, but we'll look forward to that. But in 2010, we issued 4 new residential permits in the first quarter, and in 2011, we issued 3 new residential permits in the first quarter. So we're only off by about 1. For our permit fees collected, in 2010, we collected $19,819.27, and then in 2011, we issued $20,755.32. So our permit fees are up by about 4.7%. Part of this is due to our new permit fees that did go into effect on July 1st, and so far have shown approximately $1,000 increase in the permits for the first quarter compared to last year's first quarter. For the 2011 business privilege license year, we had billed $42,448.50 on June 1st to all businesses and contractors in our database. As of 9/30/11, we had collected $26,901.71, and we had a canceled amount of $12,561.63. Most of that was due to the electronic gaming. Some adjustments on new licenses was $213.46. And then we have collected a new license revenue of $1,997.50. So as of right now, we are about 91% collected. So just for business privilege licenses, in 2010, we issued 42 licenses and collected $10,502. And in 2011, we issued 47 licenses and collected $1,520. Again, that big increase or big jump you see in 2010 is going to be from the electronic gaming licenses that went out that we did not get to collect this year due to the ban on those machines. For our zoning, in 2010, we had 51 inspections, 19 complaints, and 18 violation notices that went out. And in 2011, we did 49 inspections, had 24 complaints come in, and completed 20 or sent out 23 notices of violations. Some staff happenings. We are continuing to work with our planning board on text amendments for the land use code. We are going to be offering a rental education class through On Track Financial on Saturday, October 15th from 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. here at Town Hall in the boardroom. This class is free, and this is through our Housing Commission. Dan Cordell and myself did participate in the Day of Caring at Arts-Based Charter School on September 1st. Myself and Rosa Hilbert attended a historic preservation training at Wake Forest University with some members of our Historic Preservation Commission. And we are having our ADA items, such as our door handles, faucet handles, shower heads, and a few other things, being installed in all town facilities either this week or next week by a couple of guys at the Public Services Department. And that's all I have. Are there any questions?
Yes, I didn't understand quite what you said about why some of the privilege licenses were canceled.
When the bills went out, the electronic gaming ones had not been actually canceled out of the system before they went out, so that's why you see a big amount in cancellation. But most of them that are going to be canceled are either businesses that have closed down, contractors that are no longer working in the area, or just have gone under. But the biggest part of it was just the electronic gaming ones that didn't get canceled before those bills went out.
I thought that's what you said, you're 91% collected, which is good.
It is. It's much better than where we normally are for this time. So, thank you.
Good evening. And looking at the police department in the first quarter, we spent a great deal of time and resources in evaluating the data that we have and looking back at what's happened in the past and how we're going to move forward. The last few weeks, the major cases that have kind of plagued us, we had the rabies alert, which everybody seen here out on Flat Creek there in the Greenway. Created a lot of issues, and it was also a very huge learning environment. As you look across the state of North Carolina, there actually isn't an agency that's in place that steps in and will take that responsibility over and handle it from start to finish. So the police department spent a great deal of time kind of navigating through that issue and pulling resources from all of the departments throughout the county and throughout the state in order to try to assist with that. As you know, we did have one fox over there that had bitten a person, and then we had one that was killed on the road, and that created a little bit of a problem because the one that was found run over was not the fox that actually bit someone, but the state went ahead and done the test for us, and that's what came back as positive on the rabies alert. It was the one that was found, not the one that had actually bitten the person. But the person that was bitten, of course, had to go through the treatment, and we'll go through that. One of the biggest problems that we thought we were going to incur in that area over there was not just per se that one animal, or perhaps two if the other one was rabid as well, but with all the cats that are running loose over there. There's probably, looking at rough counts over there, we were looking at 20 to 30 feral cats that were running loose in that area. So we had great concerns that other animals were going to be infected, and it was going to create some other issues throughout. So we enlisted the help of the county, some local folks, the state, and the health department done a tremendous job in coming out helping with the notification. Of course, we had the schools right here on top of us, so it was a very time-consuming venture for us. Another big issue that we had in the last couple of weeks was the gun that was on the bus. You've seen the news reports that were done on that particular issue. Want to take the time to give a great deal of recognition to the folks on the bus, to the staff, and to the kids that were there and the response that they had, along with all the school officials and the tremendous response and tremendous professionalism that they've shown throughout that entire event. I think because of their quick response and the knowledge and skills and training that they had, that they helped us avoid what could have been some really, really bad outcomes to that. So I would certainly give kudos to those folks that done a terrific job. It was reported in the news that we had a rash of break-ins. What was reported was there was 4 residential break-ins that occurred inside our jurisdiction on the same day. There were 4 break-ins that did occur. 3 of them were unlocked residents. 1 was a forced entry. An arrest was made in that case within 3 days of those events. And we done that in conjunction with the sheriff's office. And the same individual had done 4 or 5 houses in the county as well. So those were cleared within just a matter of a short time. Right now, we're in the process of investigating about 12 car break-ins that occurred. And it started over on Flat Creek Road and went towards the lake. It appears at this time that all the cars that were reported as break-ins were all left unlocked. And so we encourage all the folks throughout our town, as much as we love it and as much as we believe the quality of life is certainly here in the town of Black Mountain. We encourage you to be very proactive in locking your doors and such at night, and your vehicles. You know, just from a community watch standpoint, crime prevention standpoint, please do not become an easy target. Make it as difficult for folks as we can. But we currently have those under investigation. Another increase that we've seen to incur is embezzlement and ID theft. The white-collar crimes seems to be something across the state and across the U.S. and with the economic times that we currently have that plague our community. Also, this being a retirement community, it also allows us to be a little bit softer target, if you will. Looking at trends, as we look at the first quarter, we, again, as I started out with, we spend a lot of time looking at data that we've collected and trying to look at where we've been, where we're currently at, and where we need to be in the future to provide the most professional service that we possibly can for our community. Calls for service, we average over the last 5-year period, we've averaged about 22,391 calls for service, which equates out to about 1,865 per month. So 1,800 calls a month for a jurisdiction that's only 7 square miles is fairly busy. It keeps our folks hopping pretty well. A lot of services that they provide during that time period. When we look at drug charges, and I think Mark done a tremendous job with the story that he done in the Black Mountain News this past week, some great data, and it's something that we certainly looked at and value for the information that was provided. Generally speaking, over the last 5 years, we've been making about 178 drug charges per year, which equates out to about 15 drug charges per month. But as Mark reported in his story, drug charges are on the decline in the eastern part of Buncombe County. Right now, we're looking at probably about a 20% decrease, which we think is great because that means we're moving in the right direction. The proactive stance and the aggressive stance that we've taken in enforcement when it comes to illegal drugs, I think is paying off. I think the key to that is education. And I think from a community standpoint that it is a community issue. I wouldn't go as far as to call it a community problem. But anytime that our youth or anyone else with our neighbors, and we're losing folks to this, and I do believe that when you talk about drugs, that's most likely the root of all crime. I think all of your property crimes at some point in time can be traced back to illegal drug use or the purchasing of such things. So I think we've made great headrows in that area. As we look at the incident reports, and generally speaking, when we talk about incident reports, we're talking about property crimes. Generally speaking, we're in a neighborhood of about 2,000 per year, which equates out to about 33 per month. Happy to report in this past year, we're probably down right at 23% is what we're showing on paper right now. So with a 23% decrease in property crimes is certainly a huge accomplishment for an agency our size and for our community. So I certainly commend our staff and the job that they're taking out there in a proactive approach in all the different methods that they're providing prevention patrol and high visibility patrol throughout our communities. Our traffic accidents, that's one that we're having a great deal of difficulty getting under control. Per year for the last 5 years, we've been in right at the neighborhood of 247 per year, which equates out to about 20 per month. The majority of those crashes that are occurring are in parking lots, and it's going to be, but they're reportable. Anything over $1,000 in the state of North Carolina is a reportable crash. And if you look at the cost of repair on any vehicle, to reach $1,000 doesn't take a whole lot in this day and time. So those kind of skew the numbers a little bit. So we encourage our folks as they're at the grocery stores and shopping in the downtown area, please be mindful as you're trying to back out and watch those blind spots. DWIs, driving while impaired charges. Currently, we're averaging 52 per year, which equates out to about 4 per month. For a 7 square mile area, that's significant. So that's something that we take a very aggressive approach to. As you talk about or you hear the buzzword community policing, here with the Black Mountain PD, we refocus that a great deal to problem-oriented policing. And the reason that we do that, community policing is not a thing. It's a concept. It's a way of providing your services throughout a community. When you look at problem-oriented policing, what we try to do is focus on the concerns of the Black Mountain community And some of that's going to come from our staff, some of that's going to come from the community, different civic organizations, our churches, or simply just by walking the downtown area and listening to the comments of the folks that were around. So 3 of the areas that I think we've been extremely successful in is our Community Watch program, our Business Watch program, and we have a Financial Institutions program. And what we've done in all 3 of those areas is we've sat down and we've designed training, PowerPoint presentations, and we bring these folks in and we sit down, we do a presentation to them, provide them with information and education, and solicit their ideas over the issues that they face within their own community, whether it be a residential or whether it be a business community. The Community Watch program has been around for many, many, many years. And that's not reinventing the wheel. That's simply trying to provide people with resources to where they can better protect themselves and better document the items that they have. The Business Watch and the Financial Institutions program that we've implemented is the first that I've ever seen in my career. Our training staff sat down and developed both of these programs to be specifically oriented to the business community and to our financial institutions within our town, which I think has been extremely helpful. If nothing else, just sharing information of how they do business and how we provide our services and how together we can reduce their risk of having any issues within their respective areas. We also participate and take a very active response in the Governor's Highway Safety Program, which is an initiative out of Raleigh that allows us some opportunities for some grants. It also allows an opportunity to gain points within that program, which in turn provides equipment at no cost to the town. And every time that they do a function, whether it be a click it or ticket or a booze it and lose it, or any of the holiday campaigns, you will see a huge high visibility of us out trying to educate folks and try to create a safe environment for the motoring public. We continue our work with the gym car, the bike patrol, and the walking patrol, and that just simply adds a different element of prevention patrols or high visibility patrols in 3 different venues besides seeing officers riding around in a marked patrol car. It also opens up the areas of communications and makes us much more approachable. I think folks will be more apt to come and talk with us when we're riding around in that little gym car that looks like a big bumblebee than they are in a marked patrol car. So we get a lot of interaction, and it also allows us some time spent in our greenways, which we patrol every day, and with our school system. Technology is, in the last few years, I think has been our greatest attribute to the PD, because it has allowed us to bring in equipment and software which has allowed us to save man hours, save work time, save resources, but at the same time take those savings and redeploy those throughout the community to meet the growing needs of the town of Black Mountain without asking for more, doing more for less. And we're able to do that through our technology. There's nothing that a patrolman can't do in the car right now that communications can do from inside, with the exception of enter stolen items or enter missing people. Everything else can be done from the field. All of our reports can be done from the field. All of our checks can be done from the field, whether it be dealing with a license plate, dealing with a driver's license, or dealing with stolen material. It also allows us to be able to pull up pictures of any individuals, and in hopes here in the short future, we're going to be able to access some of the county stuff dealing with tax maps and aerial photographs as well. Our house checks, we continue to provide that service, and I think we're one of the few agencies left in the state that provide those services, where if you're going on vacation, you're going to be out of town for an extended amount of time, or you're simply a summer resident here within our city, you can call us, come in, fill out a little sheet, and we'll come out and check on your property while you're gone, just to make sure everything's okay. And it's not just for property crimes. It's not just, for someone breaking into your home or doing damage, but it also allows us to check, if you had a water leak or or a tree had fallen on the property, then we would certainly report that to the appropriate folks. We have a well-being check program, and for the most part, that deals with our elderly community, with our retirement issues that we have. If you have a family member or a friend who doesn't have someone that can check on them, then you provide us with that information, and we call them weekly. And if we can't get in touch with them, we certainly make a visit to the home. Along with that, they provide us with information of any contact people or any issues that they may be facing. Let's say they're a diabetic and they have some insulin issues, then we would know to be looking for that when we went out or talked with them on the phone. And then on a daily basis, our school interaction, which I think the youth is one of the most important resources that we have throughout our town. So we're at every school every day, opening car doors in the morning, doing the same thing in the evening, and following school buses at the same time to ensure their safety as they're trying to go home. We also spend a great deal of time looking at the vision, and we do a self-reflection. Better yet, we do a true, honest self-evaluation of where we are as a department, and how are we providing our services, and how can we streamline that, and how can we improve those services and expectations with the resources that are made available to us through the budget process. So in this year, looking at the challenges that we face as a department, as we faced as a community, with some jobs that were eliminated, and we have one position that has not been filled, we looked at a restructure of the department and how can we restructure and redeploy the staff that we currently have to meet the ever-growing needs of the town of Black Mountain. And they are growing. Our town is becoming extremely diverse, and the expectations of the folks that live here, not just the folks that are moving in, but the folks that have been here their whole life, their expectations and quality of life expectations are certainly growing, and we want to be able to provide those. So we looked at the department, done a restructure, reorganization to be able to move some folks around to meet those ever-growing needs. We also were able to instill a professional development program, and what that program is designed to do is for our folks to go out and receive professional training in order and getting degrees or certificates in professional programs. And we reward that through that professional development program. It also, our big focus there is to be able to expand our knowledge and ensure that we're on the cutting edge of what's the most current in the law enforcement profession. We have a career development program, which we look at from a personnel standpoint, from a personal standpoint and a professional standpoint. To meet the needs of our employees is as you know, wherever you work at, is an ever-growing concern. How do you retain the folks that you have? With the budget constraints that we have and the economic environment that we have, money is not an option. And in our profession, it probably never will be an option. But if we can meet their personal needs and their professional goals as an organization, as a town, to be able to keep those folks from a longevity standpoint is certainly going to help. At the same time, it allows them to grow, both professionally and personally, in the direction that they want to grow, and in the knowledge and the skills and the training that they want to achieve. Cross-training throughout the department, and also meets the same goals as we talked about the restructure. Everyone in the police department is going through cross-training, so that if you have an officer that's currently assigned to investigations, that's not the only person that's going to be able to investigate a crime. Every officer within the department is going to receive that training, and if you've got someone who's out, whether it be on sick vacation or comp time, or they have some type of injury, or we just get inundated with a certain type of crime, then we have other folks that are already knowledgeable in those areas that can step in, and we'll never miss a beat there. We can continue moving forward. Again, trying to do more for less. We go back and we evaluate what our core services are. And we look at, by running all of our calls for service over a period of time, and in this particular study in the last quarter, what was the most calls for service that we had. And what was our response time? What was the level of expectation, and was it met with our citizens? And we talk with them about that. Do you feel satisfied with the services that you receive? And what can we do to make you feel more comfortable and more secure in your own environment? The TRACS reporting system is an online reporting system that deals with crash investigations. Instead of the officer sitting there on the scene and trying to handwrite out this accident report and draw out the diagrams for you, and then you having to wait X amount of time, up to 5 to 7 days, before you can come to the PD and pick up a copy of that, so that then you can turn that over to your insurance company to get your car fixed, or if you need to get a rental. Now we can do that in the car at the scene. Once we send that in through a glorified email system, if you will, to Raleigh, within 2 hours they're supposed to respond to ensure that we have not made any mistakes and that all the proper fields have been completed correctly. And then they will send that back as a finished product. So within that same day, you should be able to get the information that you need. This was a free program that the state is offering. It is taking quite a bit of time in the learning curve in trying to learn this program, because it's all blocks and it's all drop-down areas that we're having to kind of relearn how we investigate and how we report crashes. And then the last thing that we've put into place is called a monthly meeting / training for our leadership team, for the supervisors within the department. And what we do is the last Tuesday of every month, we get together for a meeting. And it does two things. Since we work shift work, we don't see each other every day. It's not a normal 8 to 5 kind of job. So it puts all of us in the same room at the same time, sharing and evaluating the exact same information so we can learn from each other and how we can move forward. At the same time, we put in some type of training there, and each supervisor, one a month, is required to do a PowerPoint presentation and provide a level of expertise on a topic that encourages them to learn and gain as much information as they can about that one particular topic and become an expert in that area. It allows us an opportunity to share that with all of our folks, which will in turn will be shared with the patrol officers during a briefing. And then it helps our folks with the public speaking and interaction throughout the community, because they're more comfortable in talking in front of a group. Are there any questions or anything that I can answer for you? Anything that I can expand on?
I'd like to say, number one, it's an excellent report. Secondly, as a downtown business merchant, I need to tell you how grateful the merchants are, because of the officers checking on our businesses. They're coming inside to talk with us, to ask us if we've had any problems, have we seen anything suspicious or whatnot. They just bleed our brains to see what we know, because it helps you too to know what we know.
Yes, ma'am.
And the merchants are talking about it. They really are appreciating the attention we're getting.
Anyone else?
Thank you.
Evening, Mayor and Board. I'm Jamie Matthews, Operations Manager for Public Services. I'd just like to say our last quarter, we had a very busy quarter. Streets and parks, we done 848 work orders. Water was 166, 13 which was leaks. We had 247 water cutoffs and connections, and 36 in sanitation. Our water systems, our water usage was 617,717 gallons. Water loss was 20.3%, equaling out to 125,000 gallons a day. Water quality, we passed all water quality tests with excellent overall water quality. I'd like to thank Mark White for making that happen. On our water system projects, we had 3 water capital projects. One being a cross connection under I-40, which would produce higher pressures for the folks around Old Toll Circle. 2 would be a GIS GPS mapping project, which would digitize our water maintenance system. 3 would be refurbishing the Hempfield water tank, which Division of Environmental Health will be working with Mark White on that project also. Relocating the line on Brooks Cove, because the water line was too close to the sewer. That's complete and done with. Our hydrant testing and pressures, we looked at some new equipment that will make it more efficient and cut it from a 4-man job to a 2-man job. We received that equipment today. And as far as marking the H's in front of the hydrants, that's complete. That should help fire and first responder find hydrants more quickly. Going on to our infrastructure projects, we put out 90.5 tons of asphalt at 125 different locations in the last quarter. That's including curbs and water breaks. We started on stormwater ditching. We had purchased a new Traco and a custom bucket just for this purpose, and we've had excellent feedback from citizens and employees alike. We started hemlock inoculation, which we completed today, actually, with 497 trees completed. I'd like to give a thanks to Bob Wardle and Eric Wardle, who come to the shop and done some training with us and really helped with that project. Forest Hill Drive resurfacing, that was completed by JLS Incorporated. They've done an excellent job. On our infrastructure activities, storm drain repairs, that sort of falls in with the stormwater ditching, where we're looking to replace damaged and collapsed pipes that's in need of some special attention, like the one behind Town Hardware, which we got scheduled to do sometime in the fall after the busy season. We had several tree removals in the town right-of-ways. It was could have been a public hazard. And then we've started our winter preparations. We've reorganized our shop. We've done plow maintenance, spreader maintenance. We've ordered chains, all of our supplies, pumps for the plows. All that's in the process, and a few more things will be complete on that. On our administrative projects, Mark Combs has been working with the Army Corps of Engineers, and the Corps of Engineers completed all field inspections and working on a plan for our 2 dams at Lake Tomahawk and our dams up in the watershed to come up with an emergency plan in case of floods and emergencies such as that. Our sewer projects are officially completed in Blue Ridge Road, Brooks Cove, Avena Road, Laurel Lane, Old Lakey Gap. All the walkthroughs have been done. Everything's completed on that. Gray Eagle Monument downtown. I'd like to thank Shane and Tim Melton. They completed that project last Friday. They've done an excellent job on the rock work. If you've not seen it, go by and take a look at it. It looks really good. This spring we're going to try to get a pump in it and fill it back with water. We don't want to do it right now because we're going to just keep it winterized. Don't want it to freeze and bust. And future plans is to redo the water system down there on the monument. Our Bear Smart program, it's been implemented. I'd like to thank Tanya Poole on that. She's done an excellent job. All the literature, posters, bumper stickers, they've all been implemented, and I'd like to give her a special thanks on that. Going into our parks maintenance, the pool's been winterized. All of our final grade and debris removal at community gardens been done. The water system's been put in, completed down there. We've put 1 storm drain in at Lake Tomahawk, and I went and done an assessment the other day, and we've got 3 more to go. And we'll be completed on some storm drain issues over there. As far as parks maintenance, we probably had 2 guys every day, nonstop mowing, weed eating throughout the summer. We've done some ball field markings, painting, mowing, restroom cleaning repairs. We've done 3 tree removals, and the guys have done a real good job on that. We've removed 2 trees at Lake Tomahawk, 1 at Gray Eagle, and that's about it as far as what we got planned and got completed. But I'd like to thank Casey and his staff. They've been a pleasure to work with. And I'd like to thank all the guys at Public Services because they've done a real good job. And I'd just like to say a job well done to them. if I can answer any questions, I'll be more than happy.
I noticed the accident that was just had, of course, is outside the city limits where the lady run into a truck that cutting trees. Do we make preparations to let someone be aware that we're doing that? I know I passed on West College today and they were cutting over there. I believe the lady said her windows had fogged about early in the morning, and I think there was maybe a fatality or two in that one. Are we addressing anything like that, or some safety issues?
Usually, if we block roads or cut any trees like that, I usually give Pam a call, and then she sends it out to all the other departments and make them aware. And then we usually have barricades and proper cones out.
In this case, they were on just part of the road, and the part of the road was open. So I don't know the answer to it.
We do everything we can to make things as safe as we possibly can. Of course, anything's not bulletproof, but we try our best to make it that way. Any other questions?
Mayor, Board, thank you guys for the time this evening. Appreciate it. We may be last, but we're not least. So far in our athletics for the first quarter, we finished up our summer softball program and our fall softball program. We had 23 teams, approximately 400 participants. It's kind of a tough count to get exact number of participants. So many people are switching teams and coming to play just a couple games at a time. So that's kind of an estimate. We've also got our Start Smart soccer program that is going now. We have 24 participants for that. And our youth flag football program is going. We have a joint collaboration with Asheville Parks and Rec on that. We have one team here in Black Mountain, and I think this year they have 6 teams over there. And so we practice out here, and we have games over there at Memorial Stadium. We've also started our Gray Eagle marketing campaign. We have ads that we've placed in the Mountain Express, WNC Parent, La Noticia, which is a Hispanic newspaper that's put out weekly. And we've also handed out over 500 flyers to the participants at the Asheville Buncombe Adult Soccer Association as well as the Youth Soccer Association. So, we're definitely getting the name out there, and hopefully people will be coming out here in a few weeks, and we'll be getting some indoor leagues started. There's some pictures there's the picture of our ad that's in the Mountain Express there. The aquatics for our pool for the summer, for daily fees and passes, we brought in $49,277 versus $46,111 from last year. The concession stand this year brought in $10,810. Last year with the vending machines, we brought in $303. Wow. The pool visits this year, we had 20,467 people at the pool. Last year we had 20,673, so we were down about 206 people from last year. Our swim lessons, we filled 88% of the spots available. And our pool rentals, we filled 85% of the slots for available pool rentals. Under health and wellness, Carolyn Freiberger, who's here tonight, she did a really good job. She presented a educational session at the North Carolina South Carolina Joint Recreation and Parks Association's conference on the community garden. She was asked to do that because of our innovative program here, and she did an excellent job at that. Also, as you guys have seen, lots of pictures of the Lunch and Learn Greenway Walk. and the health initiative, the fresh produce distribution. We served 171 households, 436 people, 1,928 pounds of produce. That's, I believe, the last Thursday of each month. That goes on at the Carver Community Center, if anyone is interested. The community garden, we had 2,061 pounds of vegetables harvested. Those were mostly donated to the Swannanoa Valley Christian Ministry and the Welcome Table, and also the VA Residential Living Program, as well as the community produce handout. As Jamie mentioned, the site preparation has been completed for the edible orchard, which we received a grant for over at the community garden. That's going to include apple trees, blueberries, pear trees, hazelnuts, and I think even a couple pawpaw trees as well. Let's see, there were 358 hours of volunteer labor in the quarter. A lot of it was done by Warren Wilson College. They do a lot of volunteering over there. We also had 3 groups volunteer through the Day of Caring to help us out as well at the community garden, the Greenway, and the school garden. That was the Givens Estate, Prudential Realty, and Carolina Spine and Neurosurgery. The senior center activities, the Van Clan trips, which are usually short day trips or half-day trips. They typically take the 15-passenger van on those. Sometimes there's a small fee involved. Sometimes there's no fee. It just depends on the nature of the trip. You can find any kind of information like that out on our website or by calling Renee. Our website's bmrecreation.com, and Renee's phone number is 669-8610. But we did visit the Hop and Blueberry Farm, and they also went to Blowing Rock this past quarter. Let's see, we started a Yoga in the Park program at Lake Tomahawk. That was on Saturday mornings through the month of September. We had on average 30 attendees per session. A couple sessions we had more than that. It was a very well-received program. A couple of the other classes that we've started is a Qigong class and a yoga class there at the Senior Center as well. The special events, we wrapped up Park Rhythms in August. We had 8 shows, approximately 350 attendees per show. Went off really well, and each show was very well attended. We also had the July 4th street dance that was sponsored by Family Care Home here in Black Mountain, and we had approximately 1,000 people there for the July 4th event. A couple of the upcoming events that we have, our youth basketball registration is for the younger kids, the preschool through 5th grade will be starting next Monday. It's $45 per participant. Our 5th through 8th grades registration is going on now. The indoor soccer registration will be starting next Monday as well. It's $45 per participant as well. The indoor soccer program that we run is will be this one I'm speaking of is an individual program where kids sign up. It's a recreational league. We put the teams together, and it's run a lot like our youth basketball program. We'll also be having the Carver Halloween Carnival. It'll be October 29th from 6 to 7:30. And also, as mentioned earlier, the Safe Routes to Schools Walk to School Day is rescheduled for October the 12th, and it will be from 6:15 to 7:30, and there'll be a park and walk at the First Baptist Church here in Black Mountain. Any questions?
How many basketball games do they play for the $45?
They play 8 games. Yeah. We've actually started a collaboration with Asheville Buncombe Youth League for our older kids, and so they'll actually be playing more games with the older kids. They'll be traveling a little bit, limited travel, and so they'll be getting a few more games in. Thank you.
I think you all agree we got a busy bunch of departments here in Black Mountain, a lot of good employees and a lot going on. How about joining me with a round of applause for our department head?
I would also like to commend each department and town manager for the leadership. But one thing that really kind of impressed me of all those pictures that we saw, you didn't see not one town employee frowning from doing the job or had a bad look on their face. I mean, even the ones who were comical had a smile on their face. So keep up the good work, guys. You're doing great.
Yeah, come on. Any calendar announcements on that?
You have a printed calendar attached to your agenda, and I think we've mentioned most of those through our reports.
I think so. We'd like to thank Ed Neves and Highland Farms for hosting the CEC breakfast for big ideas on small business. We had about 45 people in attendance. It was great food and a great conversation along with the Q&A. We had 4 panelists there who gave us ideas about what had served them well in developing a business, the good things they had done and then the hurdles they had to overcome and the problems that they had. And some of them had some bad ideas at times and then good, but all these folks were very successful. Eddie Frizzell of Appalachian Tool and Machine, Marcus Duarte from the Red Radish, Donald Farah from Black Mountain Yarn Shop, and Mike Fullenwider from Fullenwider Enterprises. Many of you don't know Mike. Mike has 100+ Taco Bell and KFC franchises. All these folks brought different ideas to the table, and I hope that a lot of the new entrepreneurs that were there thinking about becoming an entrepreneur got some ideas and got some encouragement on opening a business, especially here in Black Mountain. It was really great. We'll do it again sometime in the spring. Any of you that were there, and I see some of you in here tonight that were there, if you have some comments about how we can improve it, we'll certainly be delighted to take a look at those. We want to thank the Black Mountain Chamber of Commerce for also co-sponsoring it with Ed Neves and Highland Farms. But we certainly send a big thank you to Donna, Marcus, Eddie, and Mike for attending and giving us about 2 hours of their busy time from their businesses to share in their successes and also their disappointments. So that's basically what I have.
The Land of the Sky Regional Council annual meeting was held last week at the Asheville Ballroom. It was sponsored by Land of the Sky and the Asheville Airport, Progress Energy, McGill Incorporated were the sponsors of this. It was a time to honor and recognize all the elected officials throughout Western North Carolina, or rather within the Land of the Sky region, Transylvania, Henderson, Buncombe, and Madison, I believe it was. And there was a big turnout. I was there, represented the town of Black Mountain, and Bob McMurray from the Chamber of Commerce was there to represent our community. There is one thing that I would like to happen is, Marcy, we've not been getting all of the Land of the Sky reports that we need to see about that, because there was a lot of information given that we had not had, was not privy to. If you could check why we've not gotten these. Thank you. But it was a good meeting and very well attended. There's probably about 200, 300 people there.
There's an email that's sent to everyone on the agenda. I think all elected officials should be having it. Also, Ms. Brown, you mentioned a couple of times in our other meetings about working on a covenant with CVS and our town square. Would you want to expand on that now?
The town square, he's already left. John DeWitt was looking into this.
Showers?
Last Wednesday, I had the opportunity to be a part of a focus group, North Carolina Department of Transportation, myself and Bob McMurray from the Chamber of Commerce. We were in a group of about 15 to 20 other people, which also included Holly Jones and Jan Davis from, I believe, Buncombe County. We went on a 37-mile tour around the area, and we were given the task of looking at road conditions and the mowing and the weed eating and things from the side of the road to around the guardrails, looking at the shoulders of the road, see if they were in proper shape, or even looking at the road markings, if the yellow lines were down the road or not. And I encourage everyone, when you're out riding around, I don't think you really think about it, but just look at it the next time you're out riding around and just see that some areas are really kept up. They really look nice. But in some areas, like going up Highway 9, there was no yellow line in the road. And I was riding with the gentleman from Waynesville, and he said, well, how do you know which side of the road you're supposed to be on? I said, if you didn't run into somebody, you must be on the right side of the road. But we looked at major highways, we looked at secondary roads, we looked at primary highways, and it was real interesting. Like I said, we had to give recommendations, or we had to give our opinions. We had to rate each road, and I'm hoping that the study will be finalized and everyone will get an opportunity to see, or someone further down the line will be able to give input. They did say that they did a focus group with the elected officials, and they were going to do one later that evening with just regular citizens. So it was interesting. It was very interesting.
So
I was able to speak to the Greenway Committee there, the Buncombe County group that is set up and has started a commission to hopefully end up having a greenway all the way from Black Mountain into Asheville, and of course from Weaverville into Asheville. The main thing that I mentioned to them was everyone's enthusiastic, and I hope it goes fast, but we started ours in 1994. We're making progress, but it just takes a while. It takes dedication, and you got to stick with it. So hopefully they will, and hopefully we can get some of their because they've got a committee, they've got some paid employees, and maybe we can utilize some of that in our task as we try to go ahead and complete the two areas in there that is most critical for our greenway, and that is going underneath the Southern Railway or Norfolk Southern Bridge, and also under US 70 at the El Camino's restaurant or a La Guacamole restaurant, and then also down at Pizza Hut. We can get those three pieces, that would be great, but that's going to take a good long time to do that. Thanks.
Okay, Rager?
Just want to make everybody aware that on the 12th of this month, over at the North Carolina Arboretum, there'll be a day-long workshop on housing trends and obstacles, and how we can do more affordable and workforce housing in Western North Carolina.
Anyone else on the board? Marcy, have you decided on how to collect this $6 garbage fee yet?
Dean has been working on that. Would you like him to address the...
Has it been decided?
Well,
Dean, can you come to the podium?
For the folks who are on Black Mountain Water, that charge is just going to be added to their monthly bill. The folks at the Black Mountain residents that are on Asheville Water, they present a little bit more of a problem for us, and we're currently in contact with the City of Asheville Water Department to see if we can't piggyback that charge onto their bill. And there's a couple, I'm having those discussions. I'm planning on meeting with them either this week or next week. I've talked to them once or twice already. There's some technical problems, like they don't think they have room on the bill for one more charge, because on their bill, they have the Asheville water charge and the MSD charge, and they're expressing a little reluctance about adding a Black Mountain charge for certain customers. It would just be for Black Mountain residents. So if that does not happen, we'll have to then just send out individual bills to those residents who are on the Asheville water. I think there's about 700 of them. Is that right? Yeah.
But I guess if they do it, there'll be a charge from Asheville.
Yeah, and that's one of the issues that we're talking about what we're trying to figure out. It would be easier for us if it was on the Asheville bill, and I'm hoping we can make that work. And when I get a firm commitment from them, I'll be talking with Marcy to see if that's a reasonable charge.
One of the questions I've been asked is, summer residents here 6 months, cut the water off and go south. Are they charged year-round? Was that put into the budget that they were charged for the full 12 months? Or
No. Well, it's only if you have an active water account. And there's a number of, I've talked to 3 or 4 different municipalities in our area that have had to do this, and there's a number of little interesting dilemmas that come up with this. I'm not sure this is the right time to talk about all of them, but no matter which route you pick, that there can be some counter arguments that that get interesting.
There, but another one is a single tap.
Sure.
4 houses.
Sure. Or else you have that's I'm aware of that one, and there's 2 or 3 other ones that.
What about somebody on a well?
Well, we have a list. Mark White was able to identify a lot of the folks that we're aware that they're on wells, and if GDS is picking up their garbage, they'll be billed $6 a month like everyone else. Of course, they won't be getting it on their water bill because they don't get a water bill, and that's, you've listed 2 of the complications, and there's.
And what about a group of homes that uses a dumpster?
3 for 3. Well, if businesses, we're going to have businesses prove to us once a year that they're on dumpster service and paying for that, and if they are, or a group of homes is paying for a dumpster service, then they will not be charged.
Well, example that would be Highland Farms. They're on dumpster service.
I would imagine they would. When we were driving around with GDS, did we talk about Highland Farms? Yeah. I followed GDS, and Mark Holmes and I drove around with the general manager one Tuesday morning, and there's also the issue of businesses or residents that just have a whole lot more garbage than their neighbors, and they're going to.
Well, sometimes I think their distant neighbor brings it to them too.
I think that's probably happening in Black. I mean, the GDS folks seem to think that was happening, so I can only go with what they're telling me.
Thank you, Dean.
Dean, it seems to me, as I recall, when Highland Farms was so unfairly annexed over 20 years ago, that they had a contract. They did their own garbage. They were self-contained communities, so they did everything. But did they not have a contract, and do they not still have a contract with GDS?
That's what he just told me.
Yeah, I think that GDS picks up their garbage, and I can't speak for sure about how the.
But that's an arrangement between Highland Farms and GDS.
Well, and if that were the case, then they would not be billed, and that would be between Highland Farms and GDS. I'm only concerned with the charges that we're paying to GDS to pick up for both residential and business.
But is it possible for us to create a statement? I know two. In fact, I have 2 relatives. One pays $30 a month garbage pickup. Mm-hmm. One pays $40 a month garbage pickup. And they get a statement. All this is included on one sheet about the size. It has their garbage pickup, their water bill, their sewer bill. Everything is included in one. Would that create a mailing problem or a postage?
Well, that wouldn't create a problem for the folks who are on Black Mountain Water. It's the folks that are on Asheville Water that are going to present an issue for us. But hopefully the city of Asheville can come. I mean, we all think that the city of Asheville is the greatest place around, so we're hoping they can help us out with this.
But when you figured the numbers that you put in the budget, did that include all of those folks on the Asheville water and the people in the well water and all that type of stuff?
Yeah. It didn't include the well water people. I don't think we had considered that. I think there's 80 people that we've identified as on wells, and I think that's only because we've had some long-standing.
So that number of revenue money that we have got in the budget is not correct?
Well, even if we have to pay expenses to collect it, that's correct.
Yeah.
I mean, that's less collections, which is going to be thousands of dollars.
Yeah, you're talking about for the city of Asheville folks, if we end up, if they take a small cut of that.
And if we do it, there'll be some cost in it.
Well, there will be some cost. I mean that was an amount that it was a rough estimate that we came up for budget purposes. I feel it was a good, honest estimate. I think it'll be close to that. And yeah.
Well, thank you, Dave. Mm-hmm. Anyone from the audience like to speak?
If not, forever hold your peace. If there's no objection, we'll declare this meeting adjourned.